As a next, I will give the floor to Mathias Madaus. He is architecture from Hamburg and Braunschweig Technical University, and he is associated professor.
All right, hi. My name is, as said, Mathias Madaus. I'm a Hamburg-based architect, and but today I'm speaking on behalf of the TU Braunschweig and especially the ISU and the entire teaching staff, obviously. And I mean, basically, I'm not speaking only in behalf of the ISU, but I'm furthermore speaking in behalf of 7 students that actually came here last spring to do their master thesis here in Riga. And it's all been inspired and it's all been started by another master's student that actually came from Riga to Braunschweig and did her master thesis in Braunschweig with us, and she actually already investigated a lot about microrayons in Riga, as well as I think also meshems in particular. I don't know if Humante is here, but if she's not here, she is greeted from here. So basically we started the entire master thesis with the assumption that Riga, or the city as it's known by most, is presented on many postcards. It's World Heritage, UNESCO World Heritage since 1997, I think, and the city as it's known by the most, or by many people outside Riga, is the city of Art Nouveau. Well, the reality, the city's housing reality, we found out looks much different. It is basically the city of mass housing. So the main assumption of the project basically was that around 68% of Riga's population live in mass housing, so-called microrayons, and our student Humante already figured it like this, that apparently 1/3 of the entire floor area of the city is covered by microrayons. So as many as these mass housing estates or mass housing developments done in those years, they face enormous challenges updating them to contemporary standards, meaning that they have to be economically, ecologically and socially stable and sound neighborhoods. What had to be really pointed out also to our students was that this pressure of transformation is not fueled so much by the reason that it's been built during Soviet era or during Soviet times or socialistic circumstances. This pressure comes furthermore from the general pressure that these areas all over the world have to be attractive urban environments and have to become attractive neighborhoods. So what we, maybe I should add that also, what we told our students that the main goal had to be that they come up with like spatially architectural as well as solutions regarding energy and public space, but also they had to consider the built heritage that are existing or that is existing in those areas, and we were really clear that we don't want to stigmatize mass housing in general. We just wanted to point out that there is qualities, and there are qualities that just had to be found. So the students basically came with us on a field trip in April 2014. The weather was perfect to get a wonderful impression of those neighborhoods. I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but we focused in particular on the microrayon of meshems. So we brought them there, or not us basically, but wonderful people or helpers that were organized from the people from Riga, from our contacts here in the city's architect's office, as well as with the Wiese Bar. So we went there, and they went to work identifying problems and potentials, obviously, that are very obvious in that area, and sometimes also rather hidden in that area. So talking about challenges that all these microrayons are facing, I just want to go through some of them. They are not only found, or those images are not from Mershems only, they are from microrayons all over, also collected by our student working on that project before. One of the major problems, obviously, is the level of decay, which is already indicated in lectures before. Unemployment, obviously, always is a problem, always is a major challenge to any developments, and obviously also in particular to mass housing districts. Uncontrolled privatization, this, as I saw before, is probably a picture from Brushems, I think. And, well, yeah, uncontrolled privatization, I'm almost speechless if I see something like this. I mean, there's something nice, but also something obviously questionable about it. The quality of public space, also mentioned in the lectures before, is a big problem, because the space between the buildings is, to say, underused. I mean, it's the least you can say. And what happens with these spaces in between those buildings nowadays then obviously is the most obvious, that they're only used for parking purposes or for storage purposes, or yeah, whatever is whatever has to be placed somewhere is placed within these buildings. But obviously, as I said before, there's also potentials, and there's huge potentials. There's, yeah, that's, yeah. Perfect, thank you. This is much easier now. So there's also potentials, and those potentials also had to be found and pointed out. There's a lot of self-initiative, as we call it. I mean, there's people living there, there's people going into basements or like floor plans, doing something. Here it's a billiard cafe with like a little lawn outside. Then there's general entrepreneurship. There's people that are getting active, that are people that are trying to operate the ground level or the floor level, which then obviously also helps the public space to develop, to find meaning for certain areas in front of those program. And there's neighborhoodship. Well, I mean, everyone only talks about the problems and about what social problems there are and unemployment and so on. We went into these areas, and we also like had the opportunity to like really meet people that live there, go into their flats, basically really talk to them for a long time, and they were like really happy being there, proud being there, really liking to live there, and they are really concerned, and they are, and if given the possibility, we had the opinion they were really about to be active in the neighborhood as well. So another point that we found, or that has been found, is creativity and empowerment. People are creative. People just have to be, or have to get the opportunity to get active, have to be given certain lands, as also being pointed out in some of the lectures before. If they have the opportunity to like really occupy the open space or occupy the public space and really give it meaning, they really do so, and they really do it in very creative and also like very useful ways. So, well, as said before, the students went to work. The students left Riga, and the procedure, maybe briefly about this, at the TU Braunschweig is that they talk to us, let's say, for another 2 or 3 weeks. We bounce ideas, we discuss ideas with them. This is 2 of the professors that were involved in the project, Professor Fisch and Professor Vanessa Miriam Carlo, which is heading the ISU, but unfortunately not able to being here today. So we discussed ideas with them, we pitched ideas with them, we ping-ponged, discussed ideas and concepts. But then at some point, and this is really important for a master thesis, obviously, they have to leave us and they have to really go and work on their own. We just let them fly, so-called, and from I think May or June we never saw them again, and they came up with their projects to have their final presentations in September 2014, which has just been a few weeks ago. So a few weeks ago they started presenting everything they did, and now I'm here able to present some of the results. So this is the work of Jan Hagenström. I mean, here maybe also, since he's the first one, for the first time, like the Meshems microrayon, the bigger area of that, and maybe also to the work they were handing in. What I'm showing now, obviously, is only a small collection of what they produced. I mean, they produced plans, models, section analysis, graphics, and everything. But since I only have limited time, I'm really trying to talk about their brief ideas or brief concepts. So what he's been done first, basically, in his design is he took out the street that is south of the lake, and he did that tackling infrastructural or traffic issues first. With that move, he introduced so-called mobility centers. Those he placed at, as he thought, strategically really good points. His idea was that basically almost all internal traffic could be taken out of this bigger Meshems area, that they would all drive into those mobility centers, and then the inner circulation traffic would only be cyclists and pedestrians. But what, to us at least, the most interesting point of his work was that by taking out the northern street, he was really able to connect old and new Meshems again, or maybe for the first time, and really enlarge the entire Meshems area, at least around the lake, and by that also like collecting already existing build connections between those two areas, also now by open and public space. As a further point, he also classified the open space itself. I mean, what you can see here by colors of different green, that he really tried to break down those vast amounts of green space, those like vast amounts of unused green space, into smaller areas, that he like also gave each and every let's say little building neighborhood their own inner courtyard, but not really specifying what they were actually doing with them. Other people were better in those. And then he also proposed some partial densification. He started building in the area where now are the public functions, and also somewhere in the link between all the new Meshems. There was supposed to be a countdown here, but I'm good, I guess, right? Okay. Then the next one I'm calling out is Marlene Kindler. Marlene Kindler was very much working, therefore this graphic is included in her presentation. It was very much working on also energetic or solar influences on the buildings and all these matters. But her spatial or dash architectural main intervention was basically that she proposed a new urban center in the, let's say, very heart of the neighborhood. She enlarged the already existing public functions, adding other functions into that area, and really creating or trying to create this new Meshem center with a new local, let's say, little square, and then also like adding other green functions along the green spine or more neighborhoodly spine in the back of the urban center. The urban center now then orients to that becoming a major street into the area. She also classified, as I already said, the public space by adding, like, I think this was an adventure garden into that area up here. She took out, that's maybe also worth noting, she took out this huge shopping center, or maybe not only shopping but also other functions in that triangular building which is existing there right now. She put all those functions into that new neighborhood, or into that new center, and tried to concentrate everything there. Florian Kohlberg then, on the other hand, he made a quite elaborate work. He basically like really came from a large-scale approach, really talking about the entire city itself, but and finally ending up in like really even dealing with the floor plans itself. What is most interesting, and therefore maybe I stay here for a little while, he really managed, maybe as the only one from the entire group, to give new character or new life to the inner block areas, meaning these areas here. He really managed, in his theory at least, to privatize partly, or to privatize those areas in parts, to put urban farming there, to put as we in Germany call Schrebergärten, or like this little, basically it's little gardens that really provide even vegetables and everything for your own use, but also like communal functions, like little meeting centers or whatever. I mean, he had a huge catalog about what he was able, or what he was willing to place into this area, and to us that really functioned as a generator for the entire block. So he really managed to give identities, single identities, to those inner block neighborhoods. The bigger ideas basically were to surround, or were to connect Meerschaums better to the surroundings. In the north to the lake, and in the west he really pulled the forest into the area itself. He, in contrary to Madeleine Kindler, established two local centers, basically one in the north and one in the south. So by that he really managed to like really almost break the entire neighborhood down into like 1, 2, 3 pieces, which helped his idea, we thought. And also he managed, or he proposed to activate the entire ground floor area of that long block that really stretches along the green spine here, and by that basically taking the idea of the already existing but fractured privatization or business implementation in the ground floors. Yeah, and about the strengthening in the block I already spoke. Then, second last, Maike Reier. Her approach was less to pull the surroundings into Meerschaums, but to spread basically Meerschaums into the surroundings. Looking at her plan, you can almost figure that I mean, Meerschaums now is not even to read as it is to read right now. She made some sort of like a green housing typology or forest housing typology. She established here in the southern part. Here she connected the housing by program with the Moderdrome, and in the upper area she really placed housing along the main road towards the lake, but also pulled the lake back into the area, which we thought was a really interesting quality, that she really strengthened this water quality and even enlarged the water quality, pulling it into the area itself. And what was quite nice in her work basically was that she was able to like really also pick Meerschaums slightly apart, and to really establish certain branded neighborhoods in Meerschaums, like the Forest neighborhood, the Moderdrome neighborhood. Basically what she did here, that's maybe better to see now, that she extended one of the racing tracks going into the area, going in and along the buildings, and doing funny loops and going then back into here. Not obviously like a high-speed racing track, but some maybe cycling racing track or something like this. Skiing slope, she said, like for winter. That was that was an interesting idea, we thought. And then maybe briefly, two of the, well, I mean, I maybe should even mention, I mean, this is a really, or this was, we thought afterwards, a really difficult master thesis, and because it's such a difficult I mean, difficult theme to deal with. So unfortunately, we even have to fail one student. But nonetheless, most succeeded more or less with their works. And here, maybe briefly, two other ideas they had. One, creating a bicycle path, really running along or circling along the area, and then by adding program along that bicycle path, activating the open space or the public space. And the other one also just a good concept, but not like really followed through, we thought, was to take the creek that is basically now coming here and then disappearing somewhere here, and then probably ending up in the lake up there, to dig that one out again and use that one as a main generator for the public space within the Meshems area. But also I mean, she didn't really follow spatially or architecturally through with that idea. To summarize, we really had the idea that most students, as maybe almost to expect, had major difficulties comprehending the strategic challenges of the very fragmented ownership of land, apartments and buildings. Well, that we knew that would be the main difficulty in the project, and we really have to acknowledge in the end that I guess we didn't really have one student that really came up with a solution that we could say, okay, we solved Meshems, but maybe that also wasn't really to expect. However, I guess we could summarize all the projects in like 4 main points, which is that almost all projects wanted to better link Meshems to its surroundings through builder and infrastructural means. They all thought or did densification and establishments of new centers containing different kinds of programs of neighborhood related programs, and that's really important. Partial privatization, as well as strengthening the public space by adding supporting programs.
Thank you.
Thank you.